Friends of the stars, meet the 24 crazy, fantastic, glorious participants of the Hive Mind AI tournament. Let's go!
Number 1, the symbiont consciousness, led by Wellspring on Yggdra Prime. It's an ascetic hive mind with more habitability, less pop amenities usage, minus 15%, a natural neural network for quicker research and more research alternatives. Unemployed drones also produce research points, and they are rapid breeders, 10% more pop growth speed, unruly, 10% more empire sprawl from pops, so there might be a problem there, but they are charismatic, so they get more amenities, 20% more. They have the origin in the Tree of Life, evolved in a symbiotic relationship with a vast tree, and you can see that from the backstory as well. In the beginning was the tree. For eons it grew and prospered. And as it prospered, it grew wisdom at the same pace as it grew rings. Creatures aided it in growing taller and healthier. The tree learned to observe them. It trained them and changed them. The tree shaped its symbionts over thousands of years, taught them to care for it even better, to spread it, to watch over it more. It made them dependent on it, made sure only its own fruit would truly satisfy the symbionts, but space on Yggdra Prime is running out, and the tree knows that it and its offspring will only be able to be truly safe if they spread across the stars. The symbionts received a new task: to share the tree with the galaxy at large. Number 2, the Children of Gaia, with a very similar symbol to the symbionts, led by Arayan on the Gaia's tropical world. They have one mind, so they get 15% more unity, and their leaders are less likely to gain negative traits. Very important. They have divided attention, 10% more administrative capacity, so they're well fit for expansion and for quickly climbing the ladder. And they're fleeting, so their leaders won't live that long, minus 10 years. Sedentary, pop growth from immigration goes down. Well, there won't be much immigration usually with a hive mind. And resettlement cost goes up by 25%. That could be a thing. Maybe not for the AI. They're agrarian, so they get more food from their jobs. 15% more, which is very useful for the hive minds that are a lot based on food output. They're also rapid breeders. Their pop growth speed is 10% more, so they get more people to work with. They're a prosperous unification. It gives them 4 more pops and 2 more districts at the start. It's from Soundwave on Discord. We are Gaia, protectors of nature, the sword and shield of our mother Gaias. We seek harmony with our ecosystem and our xeno friends. Number 3, the Silt-Hessian swarm is the first Ravenous hive. As you can see, they're led by Boki, a female, and they are living on the hunting grounds, their desert world. They're a devouring swarm, getting all kinds of bonuses. Starbase influence cost minus 50%, ship hull points plus 25%, daily hull region plus 0.5%, and daily armor region plus 0.5%. That is very strong. Army damage plus 40%, research speed, biology plus 20%, ship build cost minus 25%, and naval capacity plus 33%. They're also ascetic. Their habitability goes up by 5%, and pop amenities usage goes down by 15%. And they are ingenious, so they get more energy credits from jobs, 15% more. And also strong, so they do a little bit more army damage, 20% more, and they have a little bit of higher worker pop resource output, 2.5%. Also, they are quarrelsome. They get 10% less unity from jobs. I'm curious as what they will do with the energy credits, but it is known that the AI has most problems with things like that, so it's maybe just buffing the AI a bit. Prosperous unification also, 4 additional pops, 2 additional districts. They cannot have the Tree of Life as a Ravenous hive. And that's from Meth 1, the first entry is the Silt-Hessian Swarm. Come to number 4, the Fantastic Fungi Comedy Club, led by Fun Gus. Oh, goodness. Living on the Tomb World mushroom cloud. I wonder where that came from. It's a Ravenous Hive Mind. A devouring swarm, of course. We had all the bonuses there. Also getting no access to the galactic market and the hunger casus belly on all other empires and no diplomacy. Also ascetic, and habitability goes up by 5%, pop amenities usage goes down by 15%. So the same combination here. They have different traits. They are survivors. They have a Tomb World habitability plus 70% and a leader lifespan plus 10 years. They're agrarian. Food from jobs goes up by 15%. They're ingenious. Energy credits go up by 15%. And they're industrious. Minerals go up by 15%. So they get a lot more base resources. But they're also unruly. Empire Sprawl from pops goes up by 10%. And repugnant. Amenities go down. That you produce go down by 20%. Which combines well with ascetic probably. They're post-apocalyptic. Baptized by nuclear fire. Starting on a Tomb World, gaining the already mentioned survivor trait. With Tomb World habitability and leader lifespan. The dreaded fantastic fungi comedy club is an infestation born from the fires of nuclear war. A mutant parasitic fungus infested the bodies of the survivors and hacked into their brains. Learning how miserable they were, it styled itself the Fungus, and has been on a mission to bring joy and happiness to every living being in the universe ever since. Unfortunately, its idea of joy and happiness involves an endless stream of bad puns, and several species have already chosen self-inflicted extinction over having to listen to one more joke. The strategy is simple. Make sure to have enough base resources to not crash the economy and rely on devouring swarm bonuses to conquer other hives and absorb their pops. According to 2.7, patch notes, all hive-minded pops are full citizens now, so swarms only genocide non-hive-minded pops. This makes an all-hive-mind galaxy an ideal environment for swarms to thrive in. From Dragators. Number 5, the Voidwalker Livebane Swarm. Very cool. Led by the Legion and the planet of Runi, a relic world. Very deep. A devouring swarm as well. With 1 mind, so getting more unity. Easily stepping up the game at the start for getting the bonuses. They are... Let me scroll. They have a lot of things. They are lithoids first, consuming minerals instead of food, which is a very interesting twist for a hive mind, as you need so much food. Usually, but not then. Pop growth speed goes down by 25% for lithoids. Habitability goes up by 50%, so you have awesome habitability. Army health plus 50% and leader lifespan plus 50 years. They're hive-minded, of course. They're intelligent. So they're getting 10% more research from all the jobs. Sedentary. Pop growth by immigration goes down. Resettlement cost goes up by 25%. The pop growth down to by minus 15%. They're repugnant. They get less amenities, minus 20%. Industrious get more minerals from jobs, which is now understandable as they need the minerals for food too. And they're strong. Army damage plus 20% and worker pop resource output plus 2.5%, which leads to a very strong army, as you can see here. And just a very sturdy existence, not relying on food so much. Or not at all. They have remnants, starting with a relic world, and they want to reclaim their lost glory. The Voidwalkers came from the Shroud, but grew to fear and hate it. They seek to destroy anything that reminds them of it. That includes all other sentient life. They tried 3 times to end the galaxy, and 3 times they were beaten back. Now they've returned to the stars one way or another. Their 4th try will be the galaxy's last. The Voidwalkers rely on their strength to gather resources quickly and build up to when their intelligence takes over and grants them a new edge. If they survive long enough, they mean to grind down any foe, as their ancient foes thrice ground them down. Once the enemy is weak, they will move in for the kill. Number 6, the War Swarm, with a very nice flag. led by Limite on Tisa, a desert world. It's also a Ravenous hive, a devouring swarm with one mind. A very popular combination, it seems. And it has also a lot of things. It's lithoid. Pop growth speed goes down by 25%, habitability goes up by 50%, army health goes up by 50%, leader lifespan plus 50. It's docile, the people, the Vur. Empire sprawl from the pops is minus 10%, so they can expand a little bit here. Natural engineers getting more engineering research, 50% more, and intelligent, 10% more research from jobs. They're also slow learners. Their leader experience gain goes down by 25%, and they're repugnant. Amenities from jobs go down by 20%. They have the origin Calamitous Birth. Not native to their homeworld, these lithoids arrived there when a meteorite slammed into the planet and killed off most of the native life, starting with a massive crater on your homeworld, giving additional total districts and mining districts, and can build meteorite colony ships which travel at great speed but damage their target planets. They're not native to their so-called homeworld. These lithoids arrived there when a meteorite slammed into the planet and killed off most of the native life, and quickly. They could arrive at dominance. Number 7, the Thracian horde, led by the Legion again, on the arid world of Elbenthar. A devouring swarm with one mind, what can I say? They're also slow learners, leader experience gain minus 25%, repugnant, minus 20% amenities from jobs. They are, though, that's something special, resilient, defense army damage plus 50%. They're very strong, so army damage goes up by 40%. So they have a whopping plus 90% damage for defense armies. The worker pop resource output plus 5% from very strong. They're also communal, so they can fit more people into the planets. Minus 10% pop housing usage. They're coming from the prosperous unification as well, starting the game with an additional 4 pops and 2 additional districts. Millions of near mindless drones carry out the day-to-day tasks that allow their colony to thrive. They unthinkingly obey the orders of their queen, the Thracian Primus. Despite their lack of all autonomy, the Thracians managed to pool their knowledge and become the dominant species on their world. They eventually managed to achieve faster than light travel, and now to embark on a grand conquest. They seek only to see the entire galaxy, bowing down to their queen. Number 8 is a slightly modified veteran from the series of AI tournaments, the Celtic Empire, led by Igvi Azud, the female, starting on Xelmira's an arid world. They're also a devouring swarm, and they're ascetic. They have 55% more habitability and 15% less pop amenities usage. They are also rapid breeders with 10% more pop growth speed, which goes well with ascetic. They are adaptive, 10% more habitability even, and strong, 20% more army damage and 2.5% more worker pop resource output. They're unruly, though. Empire Sprawl from pops goes up by 10%, and fleeting leader lifespan goes down by 10 years, so they can expand quickly. They have a little bit more resource output, and they have just a couple of little advantages that leads to them going very quickly in an expansion. It's with a prosperous unification origin, 4 additional pops, 2 additional districts from Iron Spirit on the PDS forums. Finally, we got a human hive mind. Look at them. Led by Bill Gates on the Earth. That is now an ocean world, thanks to global warming. Well, we have empaths here. That's quite a difference. The hive mind can reach out and touch the minds of others. It reduces the opinion penalty hive minds normally have with biological empires. So this is the dark horse of, like, maybe forming federation, you never know. There's 2 more available envoys and 10% more diplomatic weight. It's interesting how this will swim in a sea of hive minds, though. It is, though, also ascetic, with more habitability, plus 5%, and pop amenities usage, minus 15%. Then, the humans we have here are adaptive, habitability plus 10%, nomadic, immigration pop growth plus 15%, resettlement cost minus 25%. That can be very useful for a hive mind. They're also unruly though. Empire Sprawl increased by 10%, which is, I don't think that's a big problem with a new system. Then strong army damage plus 20% and worker pop resource output plus 2.5%. It's kind of it's probably solid. I don't know. I didn't like strong for a long time, but I think it's probably solid with the army damage and all. At least for the AI, it's solid. Then we have prosperous unification. Start again. 4 additional pops, 2 additional districts. That's fine in general. That's something the AI can make use of. By X the Spammer XXX. The New World Order has taken control of all of the governments on the planet Earth by mind controlling the human populace with nanites contained within a vaccination for the coronavirus. Thus Bill Gates took control of humanity and ascended to the stars after achieving FTL by developing the ultimate Windows update that managed to destroy the very fabric of the universe. I love this. I'm sorry. Well, of course. Who else could control the galaxy if it's not Bill Gates, right? So, looking forward to that. I got the Drack Mind Union, number 10. Led by Greki Kokoko, a female, on New Shiraka, a Gaia world. A Gaia star. That's very interesting. Combined with a devouring swarm. They have divided attention. Administrative capacity plus 10% is kind of good, probably. Then the devouring swarm, again, you know it. All military advantage and influence costs go down for star bases a lot, and research speed biology goes up, and yeah, they can eat others. Xenopops. So, natural sociologists, so even more society research there, plus 15%. It's probably good because you're usually going for a biological ascension if you're going for a hive mind, and if the AI does that, then that's a big advantage to have that output, because you can do the genetic manipulations then better and quicker. Intelligent, 10% more output from jobs, from research jobs, and rapid breeders, 10% more pop growth speed. A good combination. Combined with slow learners, minus 25% leader experience gain, and non-adaptive, minus 10% habitability. I don't think that's too bad. I mean, they are starting on a Gaia world, which means they are Gaia world preference anyway. So they need to find a way to relieve this, or they will not prosper, and a non-adaptive doesn't change that much. The Brill were looking down on the Holy Roman Empire of humans when the news that their own home world, Shiraka, suffered a comet strike. With little other choice, the Queen Mother ordered land fall, and the humans, used to worshipping gods, soon agreed the Drack Union was their one true religion. Cool. So, another cool lithoid, the Crystalline entity, hive mind, subsumed will. Empire Sprawl from Pops goes down by 20%. That's an interesting thing. We didn't have that before. A divided attention administrative capacity goes up by 10%. So, we have something that enables them to spread far and wide. Also, scintillating skin. Each pop with living standards of slavery or better produces 0.01 rare crystals per month. The lithoids, of course, pop growth speed goes down by 25%, habitability goes up by 50%, army health by 50%, leader lifespan and plus 50. Now the pop growth speed, I think that's not such a big problem for the lithoids. They're just so good, and the food they don't need makes a big difference. They're also natural physicists, surprisingly. Physics research from jobs plus 15%. And they are weak. Well, that's not a big thing, being a lithoid. It's just the minus 2.5% worker pop resource output, but that doesn't matter that much. It's a nice balanced build. It's on an Arctic world of reflection led by Lens. I'm looking forward to how this will prosper with this prosperous unification. 4 additional pops, 2 additional districts. This crystalline intelligence arose from near total internal reflection, preserving significant solar energy within the frozen matter of the planetary surface, leading to a variety of excitonic phenomena that catalyzed cascade self-assembly reactions. The primitive consciousness of this entity proved remarkably capable of sustaining significant crystal growth over great distances. Then we've got Awa, an ascetic one-minded hive mind aesthetic, giving 5% habitability, minus 15% pop amenities usage, and one mind giving more unity, making this progression oh so smooth. Led by Jake Sully on Awa Evin. Some different humanoids. The Navi from Avatar. Enduring, they are 20 more years, later lifespan, strong, 20% army damage, worker pop resource output plus 2.5%. They're resilient, defense army damage plus 50%, and nomadic. Pop growth from immigration plus 15% and resettlement cost minus 25%. So they are certainly no pushovers. They're all also unruly. Empire sprawl from pops plus 10%. They've got a tree of life. Good for Avatar, right? Evolved in a symbiotic relationship with a vast tree. Awa is the guiding force and the deity of Awa Ewing, Pandora, and the Navi. The Navi believe that Awa acts to keep the ecosystem of Pandora in perfect equilibrium. Awa Ewing is orbiting the gas giant Narana Polyphemus, which is part of the Tsarki Alpha Centauri system. Their flag represents Atokirina, the wood sprites, which are known to be signs of Awa and often congregate at Vitraya Ramunong, Tree of Souls, the location closest to her spirit. Navi live longer than the weaker humans and live a nomadic lifestyle with a local clan, not much different from humans during the Neolithic era on Earth. During times of crisis, they sometimes unite under Toruk Maktu, the rider of the last shadow, when the humans invaded their home planet, desecrating it during their greedy search for resources. When such occasion triggered an awakening, now they have successfully defeated the human aliens and start their own journey to bring harmony to the galaxy. The interesting number 13, Matt, from Wii Sports, from the continental world of Wii Sports, led by, of course, Matt from Wii Sports. Another devouring swarm with the strength of legions. Some difference here. Army starting experience, that's new, plus 100. Army damage, plus 20%. Army upkeep, minus 20%. That's solid for a devouring swarm of that matter. Repugnant, too. Minus 20% amenities from jobs. Sedentary. Pop growth from immigration, minus 15%. Resettlement cost, plus 25%. Might not be that important for a Ravenous Hive. Very strong, though. 40% more army damage, 5% more worker pop resource output. If you're going confrontation, that's probably quite good. And the pop growth speed to batter it up, so you can fill all these empty planets that you can dominate. 10% more pop growth speed. Prosperous unification, 4 additional pops, 2 additional districts is no mistake. Always. Matt from Wii Sports has invaded Stellaris. Stand by to get destroyed by a black guy at every sport there is, including war. Number 14 now, the Great Plague, a devouring swarm with the strength of legions. Again, now they're coming in. Communal, so more pops fit into your planets. Pop housing usage, minus 10%. Very strong, 40% more army damage and 5% more worker resource output. Rapid breeders, 10% more pop growth speed, goes very well with communal, of course. More pop growth speed and more room for these. It's also making a great late game. We have a repugnant, minus 20% amenities from jobs, which is totally okay. I don't feel that amenities are such a big problem. Not adaptive though. habitability minus 10%. So they will have to adapt and improve themselves. On a prosperous unification, 4 additional pops, 2 additional districts by Comrade Bob on Discord. Led by the Consciousness on Ground Zero, the continental world. Number 15, we have this interesting cockroach organism, of course. Led by Weltassa on the Multix or continental world. They're ascetic, ascetic roaches, you know them. They don't need much. They will take anything they can. Habitability plus 5%, pop amenities usage minus 15%. They have 1 mind, 15% more unity and less likely to gain negative traits. They are adaptive too, as you know that cockroaches are, plus 10% habitability. Rapid breeders, you know them, plus 10% pop growth speed and natural engineers. 15% more engineering research from jobs. That's interesting. That's an outlier. I've never expected Hive Minds and a bonus on engineering. But engineering in general is very useful, so we'll see how that works out. Unruly, though, Empire Sprawl from pubs plus 10%. Yeah, there. Chittering, of course, over the floors. Sedentary, too. Pop growth from immigration is less. Minus 15%, and resettlement cost goes up by 25%. Yeah, they are so unruly, you cannot just resettle them, right? They have a tree of life. This hive evolved in a symbiotic relationship with a vast tree, the cockroach tree. The tree grants them many benefits, but its loss would cripple them. Next up and coming, we have the Lovani Unity. They're ascetic. Habitability plus 5%, pop amenities usage minus 15%. That's the trait everyone agrees on, it seems, or nearly everyone. Something new is the subspace effabs that can really make a difference with naval capacity plus 15%. I like this one. They're also Tomb World inhabitants. They're survivors. Tomb World habitability plus 70% as a bonus and leader lifespan plus 10 years. Is a good thing. Extremely adaptive. Habitability plus 20% even. So we have good habitability for them. Really good habitability, so they can spread a lot. Rapid breeders too, that helps too, of course. Pop growth speed plus 10%. Unruly, everyone thinks that's no problem, it seems. Empire Sprawl from pops plus 10%, and I think I agree to that, because it's no problem to counteract the Empire Sprawl. Then Repugnant, amenities from jobs minus 20%, so that kind of combines well with Ascetic. So, let's see. Created by Norg for the Hive Mind tournament, the Lovani is an oddity upon the galaxy, both being a hive mind and existing upon their ruined homeworld Lovana. Although unclear what caused the world's current climate, it is believed that the world was carpet-bombed by a malevolent force over a millennia ago. Whatever the cause, the Lovani have dragged themselves from their ruined world and seek out new worlds. The hive must grow. Number 16, we're coming with Kodan Armada, with these lithoids eating all up. Another Ravenous hive, devouring swarm, with the subspace effabs again this time. Look at that. Lovani had it, Kodan Armada has it. They are ingenious, that's something special. More energy credits from jobs, but it makes sense, and industrious too. So 15% more energy credits and minerals from jobs together, and natural engineers, 15% more engineering research. So they're gonna have so many resources from minerals. It's gonna help them really a lot in producing anything. They're living on Kodan Holm, a tundra world, led by Krill. They're also unruly though. Empire Sprawl from pops plus 10%, which everyone seems to think is not a problem. Probably true. And slow learners, well, they're living a little bit longer, so that doesn't make that isn't such a problem. You'd experience gain minus 25%. Then we have Calamitous Birth as their origin. They crashed in there with a meteorite, so you have a massive crater deposit on your homeworld, giving additional total districts and mining districts. It's a variation of the prosperous unification, just a cooler one. And you can build meteorite colony ships, which travel at great speed but damage their target planets. Not native to their homeworld, these lithoids arrived there when a meteorite slammed into the planet and killed off most of the native life. Bam! There we go. Now we come to the Levy's host, something exotic to boot, led by Monval Cahiel on Lozavata Prima, a tomb world. Again an aesthetic devouring swarm, giving that nice bonuses to combat and research speed biology, and 5% more habitability, minus 15% pop amenities usage. Survivor, 70% more tomb world habitability, and leader lifespan plus 10 years. But this time, they are charismatic. They get more amenities from jobs, which is kind of... I'm curious how that works out, combined with aesthetic, where they need less amenities usage. And they have more amenities output. It's cool. I mean, I want to see how that works out. They're also extremely adaptive, habitability plus 20%, so they can settle like anywhere. Their fleeting leader lifespan goes down by 10 years. That's not such a problem for a hive mind, or for like anyone. It's not a bad pick. Same goes for unruly, as we've seen. Empire's Pro from Popes plus 10%. Doesn't really matter, probably. And slow learners is another one of these easy picks you sometimes think. It's like it's a compromise. Even though the AI does good things with leader experience, gain more for leader for the tournaments in general. And this is generally a pick you do as a player, and then it's a very good pick. I don't know how it works with the new patch though. Leader experience gain minus 25%. So, post-apocalyptic, baptized by nuclear fire. Demosthene, the hive hungers. Its victims will make excellent fertilizer. Cool. Now let's have a look at the forces of Dumbo. Reigning on Dumbo loves a tropical world and led by Omnidumb. A male drone. They have a natural neural network. That's exotic here. Unemployed drones also produce research points and one more research alternative. I don't know how good research alternatives are for the AI, but unemployed drones that's going to help, I think, a lot. Subsumed will, Empire's Pro from Popes minus 20%. Sharpened focus. Will that matter when everyone thinks Empire's Pro is not so bad? It could. I mean, this has surprised us very often. So, they're non-adaptive, minus 10% habitability, sedentary, pop growth from immigration goes down by 50%, resettlement cost goes up to 25%, and slow breeders, pop growth speed minus 10%. So, it's a total countering the usual stuff. But they are very strong. Army damage plus 40%, worker pop resource output plus 5%, and venerable. So, very, very old and good leaders after a while. So, they were heading for a very strong mid-game, I'd say. They have the Doomsday origin. That's going to annihilate them, I think, but we never know. The homeworld is highly unstable and might will explode within 35 to 45 years after the game starts. Born on Doom Planet, ready to die out. The forces of Dumbo. Looking forward to that crazy stuff. Number 20 of 24. The Great Penguin Empire with a ever popular flag. I like that too. Wings of Green is leading it on Spyria. An Arctic world. Of course, it's penguins, right? It's the penguins. It's a devouring swarm as well, as the penguins are hungry, apparently. One mind, monthly energy plus 15%, and leaders less likely to gain negative traits. It's just very useful. I love plus unity. It's also very good for players. They are intelligent. That's something more exotic. 10% more research from jobs. Agrarian, food from jobs plus 15%. Which is, of course, good for a hive mind that is non-lithwit, and talented. Leader level cap plus 1. That's a change. So they will have good leaders. And they're non-adaptive too. Minus 10% habitability. That's probably not so bad for a hive mind. And they're slow learners. So they have one more level cap, and slow learners less experience gain. I don't know how that works together, but they are on the galactic doorstep. a dormant gateway in their home system, potential technological benefit, or a looming menace. The penguins can dive right in. Yeah. We'll see how that works out. It's an interesting combination. I always tend to think some combinations are bad, but then it surprises me. It really surprises me, and I think that could be the case in this one. So, then we come to the Cheshire Hive, another variation of the great cockroach skins. I always feel like that. They're also a devouring swarm, this time with divided attention, which is rather rare. Administrative capacity plus 10%, probably a little bit helpful in the long run. They're led by the synaptic nexus on Musclor, a savannah world, interestingly. I didn't think we had that before. They're rapid breeders. 10% more pop growth speed, fleeting minus 10 years lifespan. So they make up for it, basically. They're extremely adaptive, plus 20% habitability. They are repugnant, minus 20% amenities from jobs, and slow learners, minus 25% leader experience gain. So they're a devouring swarm that wants to settle on as many planets as possible. Supported by the prosperous unification, starting the game with an additional 4 pops and 2 districts. Stable planetary unification has allowed this civilization to prosper and grow, and that it will. It's also very standard and clear that you expect it to do well, but there's always these oddities in the patches. There's always something surprising, so I'm not sure if this will work. Even though in my mind, from the design, it's like that perfect shot arrow. And there we get another roach rage. No, not a rage this time. The attendants. Their home is a ring world. That's something special here. They're ascetic, 5% more habitability, and pop amenities usage minus 15%. They have subsumed will. Empire sprawl from pops goes down 20%. That's an intriguing combination. Someone really thought something here. Rapid breeders, pop growth speed plus 10%. Natural engineers. Of course, if you go for that ring world, that is a very good pick. 15% more engineering research from jobs, and adaptive habitability plus 10%. They're going out on expansion and first dominating the ring world. That's going to be very interesting. Repugnant, minus 20% amenities from jobs. Probably doesn't hurt that much. Fleeting as well, minus 10 years leader lifespan. The shattered ring they have. From Simon 9. Little is known about the origin of these skittering drones. It is believed they were genetically engineered from a creature not unlike a Solian cockroach, raised to scurry. A Solian cockroach raised to scurry around the vents and tunnels of an amazing ring world, maintaining and servicing. But whatever mysterious forerunner created these living servants no longer remains. And in the untold time between their disappearance and today, these creatures have grown in natural size and sentience, perhaps as a form of evolution, or perhaps by an unknown will to find their originators and continue to serve. They even have a mission. That's so cool. Now we're going for the other special one, because it's an empath, right? It has one mind, the really strong monthly unity plus 15%, and all the leaders less likely to gain negative traits. I really like that one. It's so intriguing. I want to play this, I think. Empath, and available invoice plus 2 and diplomatic weight plus 10%. That's so good in a federation. Like, if you have more invoice, that's total power. It's that. And we have the Kadesh humanoids, communal, pop housing usage minus 10%, fit more pops into your people, into your planets. Rapid breeders goes well together with communal. On like a mid-game real power, pop growth speed plus 10%, and traditional, more unity from jobs, 10% more unity from jobs, and 15% more monthly unity. So it's, wow, they're going to progress so fast through the traits. Then slow learners, minus 25% leader experience gain, and sedentary. Pop growth from immigration, minus 15%, and resettlement cost plus 25%. And they've got a tree of life to support them. Grants them many benefits, but its loss would cripple them, and the combine is all there is. Without it, are we not lost? Through unity, everything is possible, and that's true, right? They get a lot of unity. Through harmony, we thrive. That's the empath thing. Through the joining of bodies and mind, life is sustained. This is the way things must be. Everything must combine or fall apart. Surely there can be no other way. Just as our minds opened up and embraced each other and manifested on the world, in all plants and animals, so must the combine open up to the galaxy until we are all one. That's so harmonic. I would outright want to join the combine. Loving, that's what describes this word. Finally, we got the reptilian collective of Repetoria Desert World. Got one mind, so more monthly unity, and they're also empathetic. Available invoice +2, diplomatic weight +10%. They're rapid breeders too. Pop growth speed +10% and communal, as this goes well together. Pop housing usage -10%. And they're weak, as a little bit of a counter to everything there. Army damage -20% and worker pop resource output -2.5%. They've also got the tree of life they worship on a desert world. It's probably the only tree there, but encompassing it all. Fueled by a secret water source underground. The reptilian hive was always there, trying to get everything controlled, starting from different planets. And of course they had to ruin Venus and Mars. Now their efforts on Earth haven't been successful so far. But who knows? They are empaths after all.
Who will win the battle for great planets, wonderful systems, and finally, the galaxy? We will find out soon.